Hello, everyone. I hope you've had a lovely Christmas so far. We had a lovely Christmas. A lot's happened since our last live stream, and yeah, we're going to go through and have a lovely look at tonight. So now you're actually seeing me tonight, and it's clear, which means something's happened, and I've got a new laptop. So, so there you go. So it's a little bit more hefty in terms of power. So we can do stuff like use Stellarium and Backyard Nikon at the same time, which is pretty fantastic. Um, Also, so if this is the first time you're joining us and you're wondering what you've got yourself into, well, welcome. It's nice to meet you. And my name's Matt, and I'm going to be your host for tonight as we have a look at some cool stuff in the night sky. But I'm not doing this alone. I'm doing for the first time in live view. You get to meet John Ford.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so tonight we're going to go and have a look at some cool stuff in the northern hemisphere. We've got our summer objects. We do have a full moon coming up. So what we're going to be looking at is at M45, the Pleiades cluster. We're going to look at Orion Nebula, and then we're going to have a look at the moon. So hopefully everyone has got to have a look at the conjunction on last Monday. If you did come to come down to North Beach and in North Coogee, thankfully you survived. We had quite a lot of people here, and at the observatory, sorry, at the beach. We did expect a lot, but we didn't really expect that amount of people. Um, so it was quite amazing. So I'll show you a photo we took on the night. It was pretty special seeing them close together. John, you were on the Celestron. So CPC 1100, weren't you?
I was very popular till one.
I was live streaming it through. Well, I tried. Like you guys will mostly know that I tried to live stream it, and we had about 2,000 to 3,000 people there, all using their mobile phones. So even though I'd gone to there to actually do some scouting on the Saturday before, checked the Wi-Fi, looked good. I didn't take into account 2,000 to 3,000 people, so much so that I couldn't even get onto the YouTube page or Discord or onto our social media to tell people because it was so slow, and we had people coming up and asking me, "Oh, can you have a look? Can we have a look?" So we did manage to get this snap here. It's not absolutely best, but you can see some of the moons here of Jupiter. You got Jupiter here as well. You can see a very faint gap here in with Saturn here. But you can see the four moons as well. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait about another 40 years or so to get a better image. But there are some fantastic photos that have been up on the astronomy picture of the day as well. So, did you enjoy yourself on the night?
I was so busy, I didn't know. No, it was great fun. I got to, in between viewers, I managed to get a few good looks myself. It was really a nice view through that telescope, and it was quite amazing. It had quite a powerful eyepiece, I think a 20mm eyepiece, and they was right in the same field of view. It was really quite something.
Yes, and I think we're very lucky in that we were able to do that event and have so many people without it getting it finished. Also, just before we start tonight, just wanted to thank Chris Ilsley from 6PR. I don't think he'd be watching, but but Chris does the late night episodes. Has his on 6PR the nights with Chris Ilsley, and unfortunately he was told that he wasn't going to have his contract renewed just before Christmas. So that came out today. So we just wanted to thank Chris for letting me get onto the radio so often and let you guys know about these special events coming up. Oh, they're just saying that there's guys. If you can hear us, I just seeing in the chat whether you can actually. Some of you can't see any video yet, so I don't know whether that was at the very beginning, but if not, but we've got some people here. So hello Numbat, hello Mel's as well, hello Belly as well, and yes, cool. So Numbat did refresh and that did the trick. Awesome. Yes, turning on and off is a really good trick as well, as well. All right, so we're going to be looking in the night sky to the north. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the constellation guide here, and we're going to go to the north here. So right here we've got Taurus. So we've got Aldebaran, the red eye of Taurus, and the red eye of Taurus. So Aldebaran is sometimes you can call it Aldebaran or Aldebaran, and that's a red star that is a red giant star that's coming towards the end of its life as well. So we've got the little head here, we've got the horns, and then the body here. We actually have what we have here as the Pleiades cluster. And we zoom in. We can zoom in a little bit as well. So unfortunately, with the full moon, we won't be able to see the gaseous states here. But yeah, you can only really see about 6, and that's because Alcyone and another star, one of the other stars here, are very close together. So they've become visible to the naked eye as one star. But that's only happened in the last couple of thousand years. So that's why they're called the Seven Sisters, or in terms of the Greek mythology. And it's one of the oldest stories in the world. And I actually just saw a news article the other day saying that they think it could possibly have gone to as far as 100,000 years ago that this story was found. So what we're going to do is we're going to now go take a photo.
Yep.
So we've got our backyard Nikon again. So first exposure, we're going to do light. We'll do a 10 second exposure, and we'll see what we get. So now the camera is now taking a photo as well. Yes, I'm sitting in the dark.
Yes.
It's not as lit up as it can see, but you're very dark, mate. Yeah. So we've got some red light on just around us, just so that so we can walk around safely. But we're going to try and keep it as dark as possible, just because we've already got light from the light pollution from the moon, and so this is the Pleiades cluster, and so it's an open star cluster, and it's located in the Taurus the Bull, and it's about 444 light years away from us. One of the things that we found recently with the Gaia space telescope, which is run by the European Space Agency, is that it takes photos regularly of all the night sky, and so we can actually see where these stars are drifting. And what we can find is that the actual open cluster is an elongated shape, so like an oval, but it's actually pointing towards us, and a lot more of the brighter stars with us as well. So and it has a lot of very hot blue young stars. So these are all the up and coming, rappers and pop stars and all that kind of stuff here as well. They are going to die. They're going to live hard and they're going to die young. The actual core of this radius of the M42 is about it's about 40 light years across as well. So they've found that there's about 100,000, a thousand confirmed members of this galaxy. And I think, John, it's that nebulosity that we see in the stellarium. That's actually not where the stars were formed. They aren't. They seem to be transiting, aren't they?
They believe, yes, because normally if you a lot of the other nebulas that we look, the gas that we're seeing has been ionized by the radiation from the stars in it, and they give off usually give off radiation in hydrogen, so red and those sorts of colors. These on the stellarium, if you take a longer exposure, it comes out blue. And this is because the light is being scattered and reflected, not being absorbed and re-emitted by the ionizing of atoms. So this is called Rayleigh scattering. It's much like why the sky appears blue for us. So it's the light from those stars being reflected off those some interstellar gas and dust. So that's why it appears that blue color, because those longer wavelengths of light are scattered more widely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lovely little cluster.
It is, yeah.
And when you look around the world, they are you go through all the different cultures, and they all represent seven either women, daughters, or so. So this is where and you imagine civilization started off in Africa, they went into the Middle East. Then they some of them split off and went into Europe. The other half went into across to Asia through the Central Caucasus, and then from there was another split. They went north up into Northern Asia, down into Southeast Asia, and then with the Ice Age, that allowed people to get into Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, and also then across down to Australia. And then the northern migration from around the Ice Age, that allowed them to go across the Bering Strait into North America, and then finally down to South America. So you can see the way that some of these stories have stayed with all the civilizations as well. So it's even during in the suburbs, you can easily see this. It might just look like a cloud, but you should still be able to see it really well. We actually don't have the camera at the moment on the Meade 14 telescope, because we actually can't fit the whole cluster in the eye view piece, or in an eyepiece in the Meade 14. It's just too powerful. So we have this connected to the ED80, which is on top of the Meade 14.
It makes it a good target for your binoculars. You don't
Yeah.
need a high-powered telescope to see it in detail. You just get your binoculars and have a good look.
Yeah, it's a fantastic target for to have a look with binoculars. And if you are wanting to get into astronomy, it is a really good thing to start off with binoculars, because you'll always use them once you've got them. So when you finally do get a telescope, you'll still use binoculars to go out and find stuff, and then go, okay, I want to go check it out with my telescope as well. And it's also, there are some stuff like the Pleiades cluster, like the Ptolemy's cluster, Andromeda galaxy, which they're just so big, or they're so close to us like this, that we can't actually fit them in really high powered telescopes, and so it was always nice to have a good pair of binoculars as well to have a look. All right, so what we'll do is we're going to go now to Orion, the Orion Nebula. So while John's having a look, yeah. So so I've got Stellarium on now. So if you want to turn the dome, yep. And so now we're going to be looking. So we've gone from the Pleiades cluster here. We're now going over to Orion, and he's upside down. For people in the northern hemisphere, yes, he is upside down, and in the southern hemisphere, we are seeing him right up. So we've got Rigel here, a supergiant star, which if you put around the sun, that would gobble up to Jupiter or so. We have Betelgeuse. So we don't say his name 3 times because we don't want him coming here and attacking us. Or we like to keep a family-friendly live stream here. And we also have Bellatrix for the Harry Potter lovers as well. So I don't know. I never got into Harry Potter, but I just know that Bellatrix is a main character.
A nasty one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got Safer.
Yep.
As
Safe.
well. And we have the Orion belt here. So we have Mintaka, Alnalam, and Alitak as well. So if you've ever wanted to know where Almatak, that's it. Yep, sorry. If you've ever wanted to know where the actual Horsehead Nebula is, it is fairly close to the Orion Nebula. It is near Almatak. And so you've got the flame. I believe this is the Flame Nebula. Flame Nebula. And there's the Horsehead here. If you can get a nice image of all these two together, you do. It's a really nice photo. And if you enter them, if you do a good job, and you enter them into an astrophotography workshop competition, you usually do well. Yeah. So up from here. That's where here's the Orion Nebula right here. So where his thigh would be. So if people have ever heard about the saucepan, usually what they talk about is this. So you have there's the handle, here's the saucepan right there, and that's what we call the saucepan in the southern hemisphere. And one other thing, if you go out and check in the night sky around here in the next couple of days, you will notice again that Betelgeuse has actually started to dim again. It's not as bright as it was during the middle of the year when it had slightly brightened from its dimmingly massively from October last year through to about February when it started to get brighter again. So obviously there's a lot more gas and dust being thrown off from the star. So we'll go in and we'll have a look at the gorgeous Orion Nebula right there. And right in the center there, we've got 47 Tuck. So let's. Well, yeah, I've taken off. Oh, sorry. Sorry. What is, I said 47 Tuck, did I?
No, that's on the other side.
Yeah, sorry. I mean the trapezium plus. So thankfully, that's why we have. Ooh, that's why we have John to make sure I don't slip up. All right, and then I'll just put it back on the tracking. So, all right. So we'll go. And let's take a shot to see where it is. Hopefully. Yep. Right. So we're going to call this one 42. Yep. Let's go and see whether we can. Might as well do a 10-second shot.
We're not actually on.
Oh, we're sorry. We haven't changed. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. Well, while that happens, well, thanks, John. Why don't you have talk to the guys about the Orion Nebula while while I change the camera.
So are you going to put on the main one?
Yeah, I'll put it on the main one.
All right. So as I said, this is the Great Nebula in Orion, also known as Messier 42 or M42. This is one of our main summertime targets. It's nice and bright to see, so it's very easy to find. You don't need to squint or anything to see it clearly, even on a moonlit night. So this is there are different types of nebula. We saw one on that picture of the Pleiades, which is that reflection nebula, but this is an emission nebula. Yeah, so a lot of these nebula being stellar nurseries. Yeah, so this is where a lot of stars are are created. Okay, that the gas collects into bigger and larger lumps, and eventually it gets hot and dense enough to start fusion. And when we see the trapezium in the Orion Nebula, those stars have been formed within that nebula, and the very strong emission from those stars is exciting and ionizing that gas, mostly hydrogen gas, but also oxygen as well. And it re-emits this as light, which we can, which we're fortunate enough to see. Whoops. Yeah, that's the problem. So yeah, we're very lucky to be able to see this nebula. If it weren't for those stars ionizing, exciting the gas, we wouldn't be able to see it. You might have also noticed that on the image that Matt had up on Stellarium, there was a distinct red colour to it, and that's from ionized hydrogen. Oh.
We're going nightclub style at the moment with the red light.
Yeah, so unfortunately, when we show it during the night sky tours, our eyes aren't sensitive enough to pick up that red colour. But moderate exposure with a camera generally picks out a lot of the red, the red colour to it.
Yeah,
it's sort of it's about a similar distance from us as the Pleiades. So it's about oh no, it's actually sorry, it's a bit further. It's about 1,300 light years away. Yep, there it is. Wow, is that from the?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do even better. Okay. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Okay. So yeah, so this is where we're looking. So it really is a proper good nebula. Like you can be in the center of the CBD,
Yes.
and you'll even get to see some nebulosity there. We've got actually Belly says, can we see the Trifid Nebula? We could actually see the Trifid Nebula during winter and springtime, so that's the best time to have a look. If you go through some of our other some of our other live streams earlier on, we did show it. So we showed it through here, plus also on one of Roger, one of the other volunteers, telescopes which he has in the wheat belt as well. So that's actually a decent.
That's pretty good. That's a lot how it would look through
Actually,
the eyepiece.
The interesting thing is that it did get a lot when we did the first live streams back when COVID happened. It was a lot pinkish, more pinkish. So I wonder if it's more just because of the settings, whether we're doing ISO because it's so hot. We're having to do ISO 1600, and we're not doing as much exposure time because of the moon. So we'll just do another one but you can actually see. So you can actually see the gas here. And this is going to make all little baby stars as well. So
yeah, there's a couple in there already.
Yeah.
See those four in the middle there.
And that's the trapezium cluster. They're massive, massive, massive stars. Let's as well. So let's have a look. So it's just doing its shots. So with this camera, it takes the actual shot itself, and then it does a dark frame as well straight after, just so that it can cancel out any noise as well. So
wow,
we can
see a bit more detail.
Yeah. So it's a little bit the interesting thing is it's a little bit of a trade off between with the trapezium cluster, because as we go further and further and further in terms of our exposure time, they'll just overexpose and become a single big ball of stars. But we can probably see now that the arm of that central arm there of gas as well. So in this area right here, there's a lot of gas and dust being stripped away from that central area. So the trapezium cluster actually sits almost in the middle there, and yeah, so it's scooping out the material and preventing star formation around each other as well. So yeah, and yeah, so and there's also we can actually see with Hubble little stars being formed and having planetary disks around in the actual little block globules where we can see baby stars being formed, and planetary disks as well. So we can find, hopefully there'll be one day planets around some of these stars, or secondary stars as well. And so we'll go a little bit further. I'll go try and do a 20.
20 seconds.
Yeah, let's do a 25 and see.
As far as size goes, that's from the say the bottom left to the top right corner. We can see the extent of that now. That's about 25 light years.
Yeah.
So so it's about 1,300 light years away from us, and what we're looking at is 25 light years across.
Okay. And if you might be seeing this little circle here. There is a star that's just off the photo, so we're seeing some reflection here as well. So
It might have a UFO or something.
yeah, yep. So hopefully it's all looking really nicely here.
Ooh, blurry.
Yeah, we'll do it again because I think we might have got a bit of gust of wind here. So we'll start again, but just with it. But yeah, so we for a Christmas present to myself, I got myself a new laptop, and so we're running at 1080p here at 60 frames a second, so it should look really good. When we were doing the previous ones with my old laptop, we had the CPU was running at about 46%. So when we connected to Open Broadcast Software and Backyard Nikon, and it's sitting at, I'm just looking at here, and I'm sitting at 2.1% CPU usage because I've got a graphics card with this laptop, so that we can actually do some cool stuff as well. So just while it's downloading, just with January, we're only going to be able to do one live stream, but we'll go back to doing two live streams a month for February and March as well, and we're going to try and do some other stuff this year as well. So bringing you some news and that kind of stuff. Awesome. It's great that it's getting good internet, good audio and video here. Yeah, that's the other thing I could do is I could actually punch up the audio as well in terms of the bit rate there, and it's got a better wireless card, so we're getting a bit of internet, getting a bit more internet as well. So we're getting to see a little bit more of the nebula as well, and so.
Yeah, you can see it start to extend to the bottom right there. So that image you had from Stellarium, so you can see that part of the nebula just starting to come out now. It's where you need that longer exposure time to see that.
Yeah, and what you can do with these with these shots is you do multiple shots, and over time you stack them together, and you cancel out all the really bad, the bad images and the little blotches as well. So yeah,
you can often filter out certain wavelengths as well, so you can filter for hydrogen and oxygen, and I think sulfur is another one they do, and then they put those together as well to make those colourful images. Yeah.
And so that's where you see with the Hubble photos, we get so pretty photos there as well. So there's actually about 700 stars at different stages of their life with this galaxy, with this nebula, and the youngest and brightest members are believed to be around 300,000 years old. So imagine the brightest of these, these little the trapezium cluster. They're thought to be as young as 10,000 years old. So think of like almost newborn for 10,000 years, and one or two for 300,000 for stars as well. So, and they have found 150 protoplanetary disks in them as well. So
about 100 million years, it'll be like the Pleiades.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, 100,000 years. It's not like that long.
Sorry, 100 million years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100 million years. It'll
Yeah.
be kind of like the Pleiades, so a more open cluster. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so enjoy it while it lasts because it's not always going to be there. The funny thing is it's not the nebula is actually not mentioned by Ptolemy, Al Saruf, or Sufi, or Galileo. So even though they documented their observations and listed all these the number of other objects in their works, Ptolemy catalogued the nebula as a single bright star in 130 AD, and Tycho Brahe did the same in the late 16th century, and Johann Brahe as well did it in 1603 as well. So they actually Bayer actually catalogued it as Theta Orion in his star atlas as well, and um, his actual star atlas was the basis of why John Flamsteed created the Atlas Celestis, which is because he saw the inaccuracies of Bayer's star atlas. So yeah, so Galileo saw several faint stars in the region in 1610, but he did apparently didn't see the surrounding nebulas, which is pretty it's pretty interesting. That they did. It was first identified as a nebula by French astronomer Nicolas Claude Fabry de Pessac, who I apologize for my French, um, and who observed it in a refractor on November 26, 1610. So it's yeah, so it's surprising what you can learn about the history of astronomy as well. So yeah. All right. So hopefully we'll go. How about we? Is John? Can we see the moon over there, or is it still behind the trees?
It's just behind the trees still.
All right. So we'll try and what can we go and see? We can probably do the mixing jumping star, or let's have a look in.
We could see either 47 tuck or
Actually, why don't we try do? Let's see if we can do the horse head. You think we'll try? Or it might be, yeah. What else? Yeah, yeah, because we've even got. So if we go and have a look at Stellarium, we've got some stuff here. Where is it?
We could go to the southern skies.
Yeah, we can. It is behaving itself tonight, so I am a little. We haven't done. We've done a few of the southern objects recently. That's the only thing. I was just thinking. Actually, what about M46? We could do. Can we do M46? Yeah, we'll try M46 because it's got that lovely little planetary as well. Yeah. Did you want to get the telescope to there and we'll? Yep. No problem. Yeah. So if you're having a look, so we've got Monochronus here. Yep. We've Saurus. Yep. The Pegasus. Oh no, the unicorn. We've got Canis Majoris, who is the main dog of Orion here. We've got Lupus the rabbit. And we've also got down here Canis Minor. So for some reason, the Greeks thought that these two stars, Perseon, and that's where Clerg from Futurama comes from, and so these two stars represent a head, a body, 4 legs, and a tail as well. So one of our volunteers, Ed, likes to mention that the Greeks were inventing their wine at roughly the same time as they were inventing their stories of the night sky. Oh, it's so close to the moon. So close, but so far. So actually, what's And over here we have, so we're now coming towards the south here. Actually, if you've ever wondered where we do these night, do the telescope, live virtual star parties when we've actually got connected to the telescope. This is the actual dome we're in right here. So there is actually a dome here called the Jubilee Dome with our 30-inch telescope. We've got the VOF here. This is the big Lowell telescope dome here, where this telescope here co-discovered the rings of Uranus or Uranus. We've got the Millennium Dome here, and we also have over here the Astrographic Telescope, the very first telescope for Perth here. And then over here, what used to be, which was going to be the bigger brother of the 24-inch in here. This is unfortunately this what got the observatory into a bit of trouble back in the beginning of the 2010s, and now that's actually being painted into Woolwin-Kinney, the Indigenous Astronomy Centre as well. Okay, so let's have a look. So what we're looking at, what we're hoping to look at, hoping and praying to look at, is M46, which is a lovely open star cluster. Oh, nice. So we've got the cluster here, and we've got a lovely planetary nebula. So a star has died and decided to go off with a bang. So, John, did we have this? Did you want to have a say what this? Yeah, what this?
Okay, so this is another example of an open cluster. So this is where stars have been formed in the same region from probably from the same gas and dust cloud, but they've had a bit of time now for the stars to start drifting apart. They're still fairly close together, but they're a bit further apart than we see in the trapezium in the Orion Nebula. Now, this is one of many of these open clusters. It's a very nice object in its own right, but one thing that makes it stand out, and I hope it comes through. Oh, I think that might be it just there.
Yeah.
There is what's known as a planetary nebula. Now, it's a bit of a funny name for it, but planetary nebula is essentially the remains of a star that's about the same size as our sun. And so one that has died, it's used up all its fuel, and it's ejected a lot of its material into space around it. So these are stars that aren't huge like those like Betelgeuse and so on that will go for the supernova. These ones sort of expire quite calmly, and they shed off their outer layer. Yeah, you can see. I can see it.
Yep, I can just. We'll do a little bit more. So we'll go into imaging because we know that it's there.
So this is sort of the fate that for our sun 4 billion years from now, perhaps.
Yeah. So the actual the nebula isn't actually part of the star cluster. It's actually its own. It's in the foreground, so it's in front of the star cluster. So it's quite interesting to see that we are living in a three-dimensional world, in a universe as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they turn in front of it between us and the cluster. So.
Yeah. So we have. So coming through here. So there's going to be a this coming year. We're going to actually have a total lunar eclipse here. So yeah, so May put it in the calendar. I think it's May. Was it May 26th? And it's going to be reasonable time. Can we just?
I can see it. But
yeah.
People might not be convinced.
Yeah. All right. So we can just make it out just here, just so people aren't thinking that that we're just joking.
Just a couple of facts.
That's it right there.
About a quarter of a billion years old, so it's a bit older than the Pleiades. So it's had time to sort of spread out more. And this is about 5,000 light years away, so it's a fair distance. One of the sort of furthest you can see. And what you're looking at is about, say 80 light years across. Yeah, so from edge to edge, it's about 80 light years in the star cluster.
It's relatively bright as well, so it contains about 500 stars, and they're estimated to be about 300 million years. And it's moving away from us at about 41.4 kilometers per second as well. So it's and we're able to do that by taking um, shots over and putting the light through a spectrum, and we're seeing that the light's red shifting, which means it's moving away from us. Um, and it's about 4,500 light years away from us. It's also got the designation NGC 24 2437 as well. And it can actually be easily seen with binoculars with its with it right next to it M47 as well. So if you have a 10 by 50 binoculars, it'll appear hazy, a little bit like a nebula, but with larger binoculars, you'll start to see the actual open cluster itself as well. So the
Did people manage to see the planetary in that image we put up?
yeah, let us know if you do, and guys, if you have any questions,
Yeah,
please do ask them in the in the Discord channel here.
There are some questions there.
Yeah. The frosty curry. Yeah. So it is located technically in the constellation Puppis as well. Yep. And yeah, so the planetary is actually about 29,000, so 2,900 light years away from us, and it's actually receding away from us even faster. So it's receding away from us at 77 kilometers per second, as it does, and so we know, and by doing that, then we know not only by doing stuff like taking photos on one side of the Earth and then taking photos on the other side and working out the parsec, we can actually see by the redshift that it is actually part of the actual open star cluster as well. And it was one of Charles Messier's original discoveries as well. And he found this cluster in 1771 after he'd already actually, it wasn't in part of his first book. It was after he published his first edition. So I think the first edition went up to M45 with the Pleiades, and then M46, M47, and M49 were all found on February 19th, 1771. So about 4 days before my birthday. Well, not of the year, but yeah, yeah. So he found it only about 3 days after he'd presented his catalogue to the Academy as well. So, and Messier describes it as a cluster of very small stars between the head of the great dog and the unicorn as well. Its position determined by comparing this cluster with the star Second Navis of the sixth magnitude. And according to Flamsteed, one cannot see these stars but with a good refractor. And the cluster contains a bit of nebulosity as well. So it's nice to be able to see how the astronomers use the language to describe these stars as well. I think the moon's still not up, but I think what we'll do is we'll finish the live stream here because what I'm thinking is that we've got a International Space Station pass. I think it's at. Let me just double check. Just go to our Facebook page. I think it's about 26 past. 26 past 9. Yeah. All right. So what we'll try and do is we'll go and get the tripod, set the camera up on there, and we'll try and get you guys to have a. We'll do another live stream tonight at just at that time, and we'll try and get you guys to have a look. So yeah. All right. So just hang tight. Go if you're not on Discord, just hang in our YouTube page, and just keep on freshing around that 26 past 9, and we'll come back. Okay.